So, could you tell us a little bit about how you were sort of first approached about the making of the film?
Yeah, so when the book came out, I was really pleasantly surprised by the response it generated. And when someone proposed that a movie be made, to be honest, I was apprehensive at first because I wasn't confident that a Hollywood interpretation of the book would be appropriate. I've seen books that became movies that, for me, were disappointing. But when I met Destin, our director, and when Michael B. Jordan got involved, we had a great conversation about it, and they were all aligned in trying to do this right, and that gave me the confidence to move forward.
It must have been quite a strange experience for you to see a film dramatising your own life. What was sort of the experience like when you first watched it?
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely surreal. I just never imagined that the kind of work I do would ever be the subject of a major motion picture. But it's exciting because I've always believed that if people saw what I see on a regular basis, they'd want the same things I want. They'd want people to be treated fairly. They'd want reliability in our system. And I didn't have the power by myself to create that kind of access, that kind of exposure. But the power of cinema has that ability. And so while it's a little surreal to see a story that where my name is at the heart of it, it's been very gratifying and really exciting to imagine that more people will now get exposed to these issues and hopefully be motivated to get involved and to engage in a more meaningful way.
Were you particularly involved in the production of the film?
I was. Destin and the writers were very solicitous of my input during the writing process, and we spent a lot of time going back and forth on the script, and then I spent some time on the set, and then of course I talked a lot with Michael and the actors about their portrayals, and so yeah, I feel like they were very respectful and very inclusive.
Just finally then, to wrap everything up, what's sort of the most important thing you'd like someone to take away from watching the film?
Well, I'd like people to learn that we do have this system that treats you better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent, and that we shouldn't tolerate the kind of bias, the kind of unreliability, and the kind of error that defines our system. We have thousands of innocent people in our jails and prisons. I think that's unacceptable. And I hope people will be motivated to get involved, to respond to these problems in their local communities. The other takeaway is that I hope people will just think more critically about what it means to be in this era of over-incarceration and excessive punishment. We don't put crimes in prison, we put people in prison. And there's a difference between a crime and our person, and we have to think about that person when we think about what's an appropriate punishment.